Welcome back to Weekly Rapid Chess. This is episode 29, and last week I played some Blitz, but I decided today that maybe it wasn't the best choice. Maybe some consistency will be a little bit better, and Rapid is a little bit slower paced, and I think it gives me the opportunity to explain my moves a little bit better. So we're going to be going back to Rapid today, but don't forget to comment down below if you do want to see something else, because if you want to see something else, I will do that. Anyway, my rating is currently 1205. My rating hasn't changed since the last Rapid video. This will be my first game, my first Rapid game as a 1200 rated player. We'll see if I win, we'll see if I lose. Maybe I'll go back to 1100, or maybe I will still be a 1200 and I'll be able to hold my ground. Anyway, without further ado, let us begin. Okay, I have the black pieces here. My plays e4. I'm going to play c6. Okay, we've got the queen move here. This is quite interesting. I'm just going to play d5. Okay, we can trade. I am going to try to put the knight here just to protect that sort of f7 pawn, in case, you know, he kind of tries. Actually, he can't even put the bishop here because the pawn blocks that. Oh, he gives a check, though. I don't really want to block with my bishop because then he'll take here with his queen. Yeah, I'll block with the knight. Okay, now he is going to try and grab this pawn, possibly. Okay, tricky little sort of scholar's mate opening here. I'm wondering if I push this pawn, takes. No, I do not like that. Okay. Now what about takes here? No, wait, takes, he would go here. I could just block and I think I would be fine. I lose the central pawn, not exactly. Oh, he takes over here. Oh boy, and now there's going to be this fork. Okay, so this is a trick opening. I've been tricked here. All right. Not great. Not what I actually. Wait, hold on. If I take here, he takes. I block with the bishop, and the rook is defended. No, never mind. I'm fine. Okay, this is okay. I got a little bit spooked there, but I do lose the pawn. Okay. It could be worse. Let's look on the bright side. But maybe I can bully this queen around and try and gain some sort of tempo over here. Actually, I should have probably started with this, because if the queen moves, I grab the bishop. Now he's probably going to try and defend that. Yeah, with the knight here. Okay. Missed opportunity. Gonna try and develop slowly and castle. Oh, bruh. Why did I move my king? Okay, we've got a delayed BONGCLOUD here. Okay, so not the most accurate play from me today. I wanted to put my bishop there, but I clicked on my king. Embarrassing. Okay. My opponent is probably extremely confused. Maybe he'll think about that for a moment and we'll get a tiny advantage. Okay, never mind. He just does this. Yeah, so no castling for me anymore. Yeah, we're gonna move the king back. Maybe he's thinking we're just trolling. This is hilarious. Okay. If I win this game, I'm gonna be so happy. Okay, maybe if we just trade the bishop off. I don't like how it's looking at me. I don't want to get mated immediately. What if I just BONGCLOUD again and then put the rook here? I'm gonna do it. I have to. Actually, oh, that actually looks bad. You could sacrifice, but I don't think he'll do that. Surely he won't sacrifice on me here. Maybe I would just move back instead of taking. Okay. Bring the rook. We're gonna castle we're gonna manually castle here. Okay, and look at that. After all those moves and a delayed BONGCLOUD, we have sort of some semblance of king safety. This is just great. I could not be happier. Okay. Attacking the bishop. I think I'm fine with trading. What I am going to try to do is push this pawn here, try to get the bishop here, which targets the queen, and maybe grab a pawn. Okay, we trade. I do have to get the queen back there if I want to grab that pawn. Maybe I can just put the rook here and leave the queen nice and developed in the middle. I like that. Actually, at the same time, we would also be kind of threatening this rook. He would have to defend this pawn. This pawn is the major weakness in his position right now. I'm going to move out of the way here. I kind of need my queen if I want to checkmate him or get any sort of win. Okay, he is trying to get a queen trade, so obviously he kind of smells my ideas here. I'm just gonna go here, keep an eye on this pawn. He's gonna threaten me with his knight. That would be not fun. Actually, then I would just win this, no? Actually, this pawn is just completely hanging right now. If he doesn't defend it, I can take it on the next move. And if he does defend it, I'll threaten it with the bishop, and then add pressure with the rooks later. Okay, he moves the pawn. He fully moves the pawn. I could give this check here. Actually, there's a bishop check, which I like a little bit more. Wait, check. Wait, what am I talking about? There's a rook standing there. I am off my game today. But this rook is kind of trapped. I don't see how he defends this. A good move, even though I thought I was doing something else. No, the knight can't even move like that. What am I doing today? Okay, he threatens the queen. This is fine. Can I sort of like counter-threaten the knight? I mean, I'm gonna win the rook either way, so maybe I'm okay with trading queens now. Question is, how do I want to do it? I don't want to put it here, because that kind of opens everything up. I'll do it like this, because then after he takes, the knight is threatened, and so is the rook. Okay, we get the trade, knight hanging. Okay, knight moves. I could continue harassing the knight in theory, but I think I'm just gonna take the rook here. And let's use this rook. This rook kind of holds onto this pawn, which is nice. Maybe I'll trade it off so the rook can go and have fun, because right now it's busy babysitting one. He's pushing over here. Could remove the knight from the defense of this pawn and grab it. I like that. Let's do it. Okay, he goes here. If I take, is he threatening any forks? I don't believe he is. Okay. Can't come down to the back rank. The rook is still here. Let me. I want to threaten the knight. Where would the knight go though? Here. Here. No. Okay. Tough. Actually, the knight is threatening this pawn still. Crappy arrow. I'll threaten the knight like this. See where it goes. Maybe here. Then I could pin it to the rook. That would be very nice. Okay. I'll pin it to the rook right now. Oh, and I walked into a fork. Okay. That is just great. Okay, now I'm down significant material. Oh lord, he's threatening to come here. Oh lord, he's coming. He's threatening the rook too. Wow. I think I'll go just right here. Let him take the pawn. Move here. Yeah, not the best game for first time as a 1200. Just threaten this. He can't actually take this. The rook is still here. Okay, now he goes here. Can't even go here to try and win the pawn because the knight actually defends it. My pawns here are double 2, which really stinks. I don't have much to push. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm definitely losing this game. Okay, now he goes here. Do I want to try and trade pawns? I really don't think I should. Maybe I should defend this first. I don't think he's forking me. Okay, now the rook comes down here. He's trying to win this. I'll go here, sacrifice the pawn, and put the rook right here. Try and win this, and also keep an eye on this pawn if it ever tries to start promoting. And the rook also won't really come and support the pawn from behind. Okay, but he He defends it horizontally like this. I'll take this pawn. Oh, check. Yikes. I go down here. He checks and defends the rook at the same time. That's quite annoying, if I must say. I'll go here so when he takes it's not check. At the very least. Yeah, not a great game. I definitely wish I could take this one back. This was quite horrendous. I'm gonna try and get my king over here. Well, not if the rook doesn't move. Waste time. Let's push the pawn. Yeah, everything went wrong in this game, Like, almost got trapped, delayed BONGCLOUD. Blunder to fork. This one's gonna go down in the history books as one of the worst chess games to ever be played. Okay, he's getting his king into the game now, but we actually get the knight. Is it enough though? I doubt it. Yeah. Okay. I'll put the rook here, get ready to go either down or up. Okay, I have to go down. I don't think there's anything I can do to stop this pawn from promoting after the king comes in. Or the rook. I'll just move my king and... Well, that's not even a trade. Oh, actually, he can put the... Wait, no, if you put the king there, I go here. You could trade rooks. Okay, no, he doesn't. He does this. Once again, he could trade. I think I have to take here. Stand by my pawn. I'm totally losing, but I'm not going to resign. Okay. I mean, I could take, I could push, doesn't make a difference, but I'm going to take. Threaten the rook. Not like it matters, he has 2 pawns, he could sacrifice it. It's probably... Actually, no, I would get to his pawns first, right? Okay. Of course he doesn't, though. Yeah, just moving a king back and forth. And he cuts me off. Is he gonna try and bait me with just the king and the rook and not even promote? That would be kind of disrespectful. I think that's what he's going to do. That looks like what he's going. That looks like that's what he's trying to do here. Yeah, and I am officially mated. Yeah, very unfortunate. Oh wow, lost a ton of rating there. Yeah, very bad game. Very bad. I think I'm gonna just play another one because that one was horrendous. Try not to misclick this time. I got the white pieces again. Scandinavian, let's go. Oh, not taking. I'm going to defend the pawn. Okay, now he's threatening it with the knight. I can't defend it anymore. I'll develop my other knight. Okay, he takes. Yeah, I'll go for a trade. Push the pawn. I have to be wary of this square. Might just try to threaten checkmate right now. Let's trade off the bishop. No funny business. Remove the recapture with the queen. Okay, he moves back. If I take the bishop, he can't castle short. I quite like that, to be honest. Okay, he moves the rook back, but he still won't be able to capture, so I think that's a waste of time, I believe. Waste of a tempo. He is threatening this pawn, but is defended very well. I could threaten the queen. I could also castle myself, which I think I'm going to do that. Don't want to accidentally blunder another delayed BONGCLOUD. Oh, he is putting lots of pressure on this pawn. I'll use this rook to defend it. I can add this pawn in as well. But I kind of want to keep this pawn here in case I want to push like this. Okay, he moves his king. This is quite interesting. I think I'm going to defend my pawn like this. Just play really solidly and try not to blunder. Okay, maybe now he's castled long, we mount a attack over here. I can use this rook, stack the rooks, and then just go ballistic with the pawns. I like that. Okay, this is threatening. If I take, takes... Oh, sorry. If I take, takes, takes, takes. No, I do not like that. That is not good. Maybe he's just threatening to fork? I'll go back here, support the queen. I'm wondering if he'll push or take, because pushing looks pretty good as well. Get a nice central pawn in there, supported by the queen, maybe. Yeah, okay. My opponent agrees with that assessment. Question is, where do I put my queen now? I kind of like having it on this diagonal, with potential to maybe go at the king's pawn here. I'll put it right here, potentially trade off this annoying center pawn. We need to defend this a little bit better. Okay. My opponent really enjoys having the center pawn here, so I'll try to ruin his day right now by threatening to trade it off. Actually, I won't take. I want him to take, because if I take, then I open up lines to my king, which I do not wish to do. Okay, he's pushing here. I need to come up with some sort of counterattack ASAP. I'm gonna do this, threaten the knight, and just slowly roll the thunder towards his king. March the pawns. Try to damage the structure here. Okay, this looks tricky. I have a feeling. Oh, wait, actually, no. His queen cannot go here because it would just get taken. No forks or anything quite yet. Could also go for this push. Actually, having all those pawns rolling towards the king looks kind of fun. I'm gonna do it. Oh, I hung this, but it's fine because he has to move the queen first. Okay, he moves the queen. Yeah, boot the knight. Maybe boot the bishop on the next turn. We're clearing the way towards his king. This actually looks pretty good. He puts the knight smack dab in the middle here. No fork or anything threatened. Let's cut the bishop off from the defense of the knight, and maybe we can target it in a moment. Actually, if I go... Wait, no, I can't go here because the queen is here. So the knight will always have this square because it's defended by the queen. But, okay, wow. Opponent goes here. Tricky move. I'm going to move the bishop out of the way and attack the knight at the same time. That looks like a good move. Okay, he moves the knight into the middle here. I could just take. That looks quite nice. This looks a little bit open. But I'm not too worried because right now my opponent has to deal with this. Oh, wow. Okay, this is a cheeky move. If I take, I lose the queen immediately. I'll defend the pawn. It's already defended quite well. But we do need something, what's it called? Less valuable than the rook or the bishop in case it does take. Oh, wow, it does take. We will take back. Also threatening the rook. I think 2 rooks for a queen is a good trade. But do I want to get into a 2 rooks and a bishop versus a queen endgame? I kind of do, but I also kind of don't. I'm just gonna put some pressure on the rook and get the queen out of the line of fire from the bishop. Okay. Opponent attacks like this. If takes, I'm still fine. I will, however, prepare to stack more defense onto the bishop in case he decides to put the queen maybe here, not sure. Okay. Offering a trade of queens. I quite like that. I think I will accept. I'll accept the trade. And I do need to defend this bishop. Done. Okay, this looks pretty good, although the rooks are kind of busy defending the bishop. But this king is definitely under some serious pressure. Okay, he's voluntarily offering to sort of give up this pawn here. I'll start bringing my king. Try and help my rooks out. Okay. I think my opponent is doing the same. I'm not sure if I want to bring it over like this, because then this here takes... No, I should be fine. There shouldn't be a problem here. I can bring my king over this way. And now I can move the bishop, and I will get some rook trades in. Okay. I'll go for the intermediate check here. And I'll move the bishop back. No matter what, I'm going to get some rooks. And the bishop should just be winning. I'm a little bit worried about this pawn, but I think the king and the bishop should be able to stop it. And the bishop can go hunting over here, grab all these. Should be a winning endgame. Gain back the rating I lost. I'm actually just going to pre-move the recapture here. Okay. Opponent chooses to do this. Still allows me to trade. I'm not sure if I want to keep one rook on the board or trade them all off completely. I think I'll trade them off completely. And I'll start making my way over here. I don't want his king getting towards my pawns. The bishop does help sort of cut off some of these squares. The pawn can actually never really push because of this pawn. I am just going to start going for this. I could also just sacrifice the bishop for the pawn if need be. Okay, he's just allowing me to trade it off. And I'm getting out his pawns now. Okay. I'll hold on to the bishop. Could I just sack the bishop here? Could I just let him have the bishop? Take here. And then just start pushing this pawn? I kind of want to. But at the same time, I kind of don't. I'm going to put the bishop here, which stops him from going to this square. And I can come and defend like this. And hold on to all of my pawns. Or actually, I could just go like this. Now maybe this is better. We can lose this pawn. I'll come up and take that. Ooh. Okay. And like I said, I'm fine with losing this pawn. This is a fortress the king will never take. And I will just go up here, win this pawn. If he lets me. He has to move the king, though. Or he could move this pawn. Oh yeah, I just do this. He has to move back. Grab the pawn. And the opponent resigns, and I do actually gain back all of the rating I lost the first game, so I am still 1205 here. Honestly, I'm pretty happy about that. I don't think I'm going to bother reviewing the first game, just because of all the horrible mouse slips, and I was kind of just memeing around with the king. But I am going to review this game. I'm going to take a moment to analyze it first, and I will come back to you, and hopefully with a relatively educational presentation of the game I just played. And I am back, and it is time to analyze the game that I just played here. I had the white pieces, and I started off with e4, as I always do, and my opponent plays d5, starting with the Scandinavian defense. I take the pawn, but then my opponent plays bishop f5, rather than the usual queen takes d5. So, of course, I need to support my pawn that is under threat from the queen. My opponent then plays knight f6, adding pressure to the pawn, and I missed the correct move here to give a check with the bishop, inducing a pawn move to therefore trade off the pawn equally, because this way I'm actually going to lose a pawn since the pawn is not sufficiently defended. My opponent takes with the knight, I take back with my own knight, and my opponent recaptures the queen. And as you can see, my opponent actually does have some pretty good development, potential c2 ideas maybe in the future. But I played pawn d4, trying to gain some space in the center. The pawn is supported by the knight and the queen. But my opponent plays h6 here, which is an inaccuracy. I play bishop d3 now, offering a trade to the opponent. The opponent moves the bishop back to h7, which is a mistake because I can actually kick the queen before doing the next few moves. But instead of kicking the queen first, I took immediately on h7. And after the rook recaptures, queen d3 actually threatens the rook again, so the rook has to move. And now it is white's turn again, and white is up a tempo here. So I am able to gain some more development. I play bishop e3, not the best move for developing. I should be castling already, but I castle on the next move after my opponent plays knight c6. My opponent castles queenside, pressuring the pawn with the rook. I add some defense to my pawn with my own rook, and king moved to b8. Again, white gains a tempo here because black sort of wastes time developing. I'm actually supposed to strike the queen immediately. I was considering this move, but I instead chose to over-defend this pawn. My opponent plays f6, which is the best move. And my opponent is striking in the center after I play b4, which is another inaccuracy. And now my opponent is slowly sort of going to gain back the advantage because he is going to threaten this fork. He's going to take over space in the center. And knight e1 is not the optimal move because now my opponent can actually take this pawn here and starts kind of breaking down my center influences, but he chooses to go with e4 here, kind of getting a nice, very well cemented center pawn here, kind of sort of taking up space in my position. My queen has to move away, and my opponent reinforces it with f5 and begins creating a nice pawn chain here. I play f3, which is putting my king's safety at risk because after some trades, my king could get opened up. However, my opponent plays g6, and oops, again allowed me to kick this queen, which is a recurring idea here from the computer. But I play a4, trying to start my own attack because I'm afraid that I'm going to get overwhelmed on the king side here. However, my opponent plays bishop d6, and finally I find the correct move to kick the queen away. Then I kick the knight away, and finally I kick the bishop away, which also cuts off the defense from the knight. But over here my opponent plays f4, which is a blunder, because after bishop d2, the knight has to move, but the bishop is also hanging. However, after the knight moves, I'm supposed to take the hanging bishop because the knight can't actually take anything without it being an equal trade. However, I choose to equally trade off the knight. And after the pawn recaptures, my queen has to move. I recapture the pawn, which is an inaccuracy again, and now my opponent gets the chance to move the bishop. And he moves it here, which is a slight mistake, because I can simply defend the pawn. And my opponent makes another mistake here, taking the pawn with the bishop. After the bishop recaptures, I'm simply up a bishop for the pawn, and I'm actually up 3 points of material in total here. My opponent plays rook d5, and over here I really was considering going into this bishop and 2 rooks versus queen endgame, which the computer says is the correct move, but over here I kind of chose to sort of avoid that, get the queen out of the line of fire from the rook. My opponent stacks the rooks, however the bishop is sufficiently defended, but I am preparing in case the queen decides to come in. The queen does offer a trade, which I accept, and then now I have to defend the bishop. He cannot take, because if he takes, the rook takes, and then his rook takes, and then my rook takes, and I would be up material. My opponent plays b6, trying to create sort of an escape squirt for the king. However, I can take, and I am sort of damaging the pawn structure here. I play king f2, trying to activate the king. After all, we are in an endgame sort of here, and I do need to get the king active if I want to have a chance at winning. Over here, I'm already supposed to offer a trade of rooks immediately, but after check, the king walks around for a little bit. Now the king sort of supports the rooks here. My opponent sort of allows me to take another pawn here with check, and I play bishop c3, which offers a trade of rooks. My opponent doesn't accept, but I forcibly trade off the rooks anyway. And then I start moving my king here, trying to get at these pawns and ideally promote in the future. My opponent played king c6, and I'm slowly making my way into the position. My opponent plays b5, however I can just trade the pawn off, and now I don't have any pawns to worry about on this side of the board, and my king is already close here. My opponent threatens the bishop, so I have to move it away. The computer actually says absolutely gangster move to just take the pawn, let him have the bishop, and it's still a winning endgame. But I was a little bit more afraid. After taking here, my opponent goes to king e2, and I played bishop h4, stopping the king from going to this square. The king goes here, and I'm able to push this pawn. My opponent can have this pawn all he wants, but I am still going to take this pawn and promote. For some reason, I go back here because I didn't want him to have this pawn, but I push it, and a few moves later, I get to the pawn. My opponent plays this to try and gain tempo, but I can move my king out of the way, and now my opponent has to move his king. He has to move it either here or here. He chooses to move it here, and I take the pawn. And after the king goes here, there's nothing my opponent can do to stop this pawn from eventually promoting. So my opponent resigned in this position, and I was able to get back the rating I lost from the first game. My rating is now 1205 as it was before. And that is going to be the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you watched until the end, I really appreciate it. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed. It helps me out a lot. It feeds the algorithm, and it's free for you, but it helps me out a ton. So I really appreciate it if you would like and subscribe. And don't forget to comment down below what kind of content you want to see next. I enjoy making these rapid chess videos, but I am open to suggestions. If you want to see blitz, bullet, maybe some variants, do comment down below because I read all of the comments and I will consider your suggestions and I will probably do them. I don't see a reason why I wouldn't. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.